Hey guys, in March of this year, I decided to get my finances in order. I was at rock bottom, and rock bottom looks different for everybody. But my rock bottom looked like I was 48 years old and I was still borrowing $40 to $60 from my brother in between paychecks just so I can get to work. And so what happened in March, well, actually, at the beginning of the year, I definitely knew that I needed something to change. I wanted to do something different. My life just couldn't keep going the way it was going, and it was a lot of things. It was a lot of things. It wasn't just finances. It was my personal life. It was work. It was just a lot of different things, and I just needed order. I needed to get something in order, and I knew I needed to get my finances in order. And so, some years ago, I bought Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover. Years ago, probably 10 or 15 years ago. I wasn't even sure that I even still had the book, but I went and looked for it, and sure enough, it was in my bookcase. That was one of the books I hadn't gotten rid of and given to Goodwill or whatever. And so I went and dug it out, and I think back then when I bought it, like I had the, desire, like I wanted to be out of debt because I think back then, like 10 and 15 years ago when I was in church, that was like the buzzwords, like how I grew up in the Christian world. And so there's like these trends or these buzzwords, like in one season, it was like the purity ring for all the girls and different things like that. Well, this particular season, it was everybody like being debt free and getting out of debt and being debt free. Like all this was going on. And I don't know if that was just my church, but I just felt like that was kind of like a trend that was kind of happening at the time, was to be debt free. And so I wanted to be debt free, and I bought the book and I was like, I'm going to, follow the Total Money Makeover and everything like that. And I, but I didn't think I could. Like, I didn't think that I could even do it. So, like if you know anything about the Total Money Makeover, it's like these baby steps. And the first baby step is to save $1,000. I had never saved $1,000. I worked like, I think my first job was like at Kmart. And then I think I worked at Bally Total Fitness, which was a gym chain at the time. I just had like all these little jobs. I worked at the Cracker Barrel. I was a waitress. I, did all these things. And so I just did, and I don't think any of it was like full time. I didn't have benefits. Like it was just a lot of things. And so I didn't, think that I could. Like, I didn't think I could even save $1,000. I had bought a car because I had gone away to college. I had come home. I racked up a lot of debt because I had all these credit cards. I had student loans. When I came home, I needed a car, so I bought a car. And I ended up paying that particular car off. I mean, I'm surprised, y'all. I'm surprised. If y'all surprised, I'm surprised I paid it off, y'all. But it was like back then, if y'all are old enough, when I bought the car, my dad co-signed for me. And so he co-signed for me, and it was like I got this booklet and you had to tear the tickets out of the booklet. And so I mailed a ticket in with my payment, to make a payment. And I remember getting to like the last ticket in that book. And I was like, okay. But I didn't think anything of it. I just thought that's what people do, right? So anyway, I thought, let me get out of debt, right? And so, but I think the first step is what stumped me, and that was the saving $1,000 fast. Because not only do you save $1,000, he tell you to save $1,000 fast, and so I just couldn't even see myself like in that space, and so I decided finally in March of this year, after years of just wishing my life was different and not really being able to do anything about it to like make it different. I was like, I need to do something different. I started off 2024 saying, this is going to be my year. 2024 is going to be my year. And so I'm like, well, what can I do? Like, what can I have my hands on to make something different? Because there's a lot of things that I felt like I didn't have a choice in the matter of. Sorry, y'all. I got to plug y'all in. So there's a lot of things that like I didn't feel like I could control myself. There, like my dating life, like I could hold on. Okay, so in my dating life, like, I mean, I can go out and I can meet people, but I can't control like how quickly that happens. Some people may think differently, but yeah, I didn't feel like I could control that happening, right? And so um just a lot of things like I don't know, like my living situation, like certain things could only improve like if I just like was able to make tangible financial decisions to be able to make it happen. Well, the first thing I needed to do was just get a handle on my finances. And so I'm going to share how I was able to save $1,000 fast to just break the barrier of getting past that first baby step. Because once I got on that train and was able to save that $1,000 fast, I feel like so many things just opened up after that. Like once I got on the right track, so many things just opened up. And so I do have notes here that I'm going to be looking at on my laptop. And so, and this is, and let me just clarify. So in March, when I decided that I was going to save $1,000 fast, I still didn't feel like I had the money to do it. Like, let's be honest, I didn't feel like I had money. I felt like I didn't make enough money. I was like, what kind of second job can I get? What else can I do? So I still didn't feel like I had money. So this is going to be me sharing with you how I saved $1,000 fast when I didn't have the money to do it. And so fast is relative to different people. For me, when I decided in April that I wanted to save $1,000 and just break the barrier and get past that first baby step, I gave myself a due date. I decided that I'm going to give myself until May 31st. So from April 1st to May 31st. So I think I recorded and posted my first video. I think it was like around April 7th or something like that. So that was when I decided, I'm like, and I think the week prior to that is when I decided I was going to do the Total Money Makeover. And then the week after that is when I decided I was going to start a YouTube channel about it because I needed to be accountable. That was one of the things too that needed to help me, because if wasn't nobody checking for what I was doing, then I also could just make excuses for why I'm not doing it, right? And so I had to give myself a due date. And so for me to say that I'm going to save $1,000 by May 31st, that was that to me was fast. That was 2 months for me, who has never saved any amount of money, right? I never saved any amount of money on purpose for any reason. And so I was giving myself 2 months to do it. And so fast is relative. It could be a month you want. It could be 6 months. It could be a year. Whatever your fast is what your fast is. But I want to suggest that you give yourself a due date. So now you can work backwards and see how much I can do in this time to get this $1,000. So during that time, I did as much as I could, as much as I was comfortable doing. Now, when you read the Total Money Makeover, or when you hear like financial gurus who have a lot of money, people often are like, well, just do anything, right? Just do anything. Go do fast food. McDonald's is always hiring. You always hear those type of people always trying to tell you like to go just do all these things, right? And I've worked a lot of jobs. I've worked fast food. I've worked restaurants. I've worked delivery. I've been a delivery driver before. I have worked in group homes. I have worked in hospitals. I have had a myriad of jobs over the years. And many of those things I wouldn't go back to unless I didn't already have a full-time job. So I'm speaking from the perspective of someone who already has a full-time job and making decent salary, right? So I already have a full-time job. And sometimes when you have a full-time job, you don't want to go from one stress to another stress, right? And the job I have, I love, I enjoy. I enjoy my coworkers. I work in a high school. I work with students all day. And sometimes you don't want to go from one stress to another, right? And so although I could go pick up a job at a fast food restaurant or go work in a grocery store or something like that, although I could do that, I made the conscious decision that I didn't want to do that. Right. So when I say I did as much as I could, what I was comfortable doing, my job had different opportunities, right? And so, but before I get to that, let me just go through these steps a little bit. So, the first thing I did after I gave myself a due date was to make myself a budget. And making a budget for me was showing me that I made enough money to do the things that I needed to do, and I still had money left over to save, right? So making a budget showed me, because when I laid out a budget, like including my groceries, including my rent, my car payment, my car insurance, my cell phone bill, like all my subscriptions, like all the things that I paid for, even after all of that, I still had money left over. But I didn't have money like in my hands. I'm like, I tangibly in my bank account, I am negative. I don't have any money. I am borrowing money from my brother to be able to just even get to work until the next paycheck. And it was because I was so used to swiping. Like I was like nickel and diming myself into debt all the time because food was really my kryptonite. So I would be coming home late at night. I would go in the drive-through. I would go grocery shopping, but then not want to cook what I bought. And so I would buy food and then things would go bad and then I'll have to throw it out. So I was just always in this cycle of my food was where my money was like going down the drain for the most part. For the most part, that's what it was. It was a lot of eating out. It was a lot of buying groceries with the intention of cooking and then not really doing it. And so making a budget and giving myself a certain amount of money to spend, and not only just in my head, like, oh, I'm only going to spend $100 on groceries, but actually physically taking that $100 out of the bank, putting it in my wallet here. And I think I've showed you guys this before, but all of my things that I have cash for is groceries, gas, personal maintenance, and fun money. Those are the things I have cash for. I will not swipe for those things. And so, but I had to do that. I had to get to a place where I made a budget and I told my money this is what it's going to be. So without the budget, like if I just thought in my head, oh, I'm only going to spend $1,000 for groceries, or $1,000, y'all, I wish, $100 for groceries, but then I'm swiping, that money is gone in no time. That was not even, that's a detention bill, y'all. That money went so fast because I wasn't thinking about it. And I remember when I was married and neither one of us had any business getting married. We did neither one of us had any financial prowess at all. But it was interesting to me because whenever I would want to do something like, oh, let's go out to the movies, let's go to a restaurant, or let's go, stay at a hotel for the weekend or whatever, he would always be like, oh, it's not in the budget. And finally, one day I was like, well, where's the budget? Show me the budget. He was just using that phrase as a way, just to tell me, as a way to deflect, he didn't want to do it or he didn't want to pay for it or whatever the case was, but he didn't want to do it. So he would just say it's not in the budget, just this arbitrary statement. And so one day I was like, well, show me the budget. Let me see the budget. And there was no budget. He was like, it's up here. It's up here. That's not a budget, honey. And I told him that is not a budget. A budget is something tangible. You can look at, you can manipulate, you can move things around. You can see exactly how much money you have, how much you're spending, how much you have left over and things like that. So make a budget, give yourself a due date, and then make a budget so you know where your money is going and how much money you have left over. And if you need help making a budget, I did make a video called, what did I call it? Beginner's Guide to Budgeting by Paycheck, and I'll put the link in the description so you can see it. But now moving on, now that you have a due date, now that you have a budget, now you know what bills you need to pay, when you need to pay them. But most importantly, you can see how much money you have left over, and you can also see what things are necessary and what things are unnecessary. Things like food, shelter, transportation, those things are necessary, right? So your car payment and car insurance, your gas, your home, your utilities, like your rent or your mortgage, your utilities, things like that, groceries, those things are a necessity. So one of the things I did right away after I gave myself a due date, after I set a budget, or uh, after I developed a budget, one of the things I did right away to start saving $1,000 was to cancel all of my subscriptions from Canva, Amazon Prime, YouTube Premium, Hulu, Netflix, anything that I didn't need to function in my everyday life. You don't need all those subscriptions. And the thing about it is, because we're talking about just saving $1,000 fast, that doesn't mean you're getting rid of all your subscriptions forever. It does not mean that. You're not getting rid of it forever. You're just doing it until you meet this goal of saving $1,000 fast. So all that money you were paying for those subscriptions, now you can put that into savings. That's part of your savings now. Put it in your savings, get rid of the subscriptions. And I heard that on iPhone, I don't have an iPhone, I have an Android, but I heard on an iPhone you can go into your subscriptions and see what you're subscribed to and unsubscribe to the things that you don't want to be subscribed to, because that might be, you might be spending money that you don't even realize, because all subscriptions are just automated. It's all automated. And so just get rid of them. And so recently I just resubscribed to Canva. Yay. I resubscribed to Canva. And then I wanted to see Sister Wives, Guilty Pleasure, Potato Chips for the Brain. I want to see Sister Wives. I want to catch up so that season 19 is going to come out, and I want to watch Sister Wives. That's just a guilty pleasure. And so I did a free 7-day trial to Discovery on Amazon Prime. Paid nothing. Before the 7 days are over, I'm going to cancel it. Done and done. Y'all, we can get around things. We can enjoy life without having to pay for all these subscriptions. And a lot of these things I wasn't even using, right? So put yourself on a spending freeze. You don't need Amazon Prime if you're not buying anything. So just go ahead and just get rid of, cancel all the subscriptions. Now you freed up money to start putting away for your $1,000. So next, after you cancel all these unnecessary subscriptions, consider leveraging your workplace for extra income. And that's what I do. As an educator in a high school, we have lots of extracurricular activities that they're always asking for workers, especially in the evening for basketball games, volleyball games. I just picked up a whole season of volleyball games to be the official scorebook person. Now, mind you, I didn't know how to do any of this before I signed up, and I just signed up. I volunteered. I was like, it's a paid position. You get paid to do it. But I agreed to do it. I was like, I'll do it if somebody teaches me how to do it. And sure enough, I found somebody that knew how to do it. This man used to do volleyball for years. He used to be the scorebook person, the official scorekeeper for volleyball for years. He decided he didn't want to do it anymore. I was like, well, can you teach me how to do the book? He said, yep. So he taught me how to do the book, and I picked up all last year, girls and boys, and now I'm starting again this year with all the girls games, JV and varsity games. And so that's something, and for my position, I'm an interpreter at work, and so that has nothing to do with interpreting, but I just see different opportunities that they offer, and so I just pick those up. That's extra income, and the good thing about it is I don't get paid for volleyball until after the season is over, and so I just get a lump sum check. That lump sum, boom, that's how I got to my $1,000 so quickly, because it was the spring season and I was finishing up basketball. Boys basketball was finishing up. I got a lump sum check, and then boys volleyball finished up and I got a lump sum check. I mean, I just was able to get that $1,000 done. Um, and actually, we have students, some of our deaf students who actually stay after school and they're involved in extracurricular activities. I could pick up some of those shifts and different things like that. So I have a few different opportunities at work where I'm able to make extra income. And um, so I did some football, boys volleyball, girls volleyball, girls and boys basketball games, lacrosse. I didn't know nothing about lacrosse. I just saw them out there with this stick. I was like, what is happening and what are we doing and what do you need? Because they were having a hard time finding somebody to work the games. And it's because in the spring, with outdoor sports in the spring, the weather is just awful. Like it could be like sleeting, and I live in the Midwest, so it could be like sleeting and snow and like just all kinds of stuff. And so most people don't want to work those kind of games, but I learned about lacrosse. I I was able to work it, and I worked the whole season, and it was great. I worked the whole season. And so now, not only that, but now, like, they can come to me because they know that I know how to do these things. They don't have to search far and wide to try to find somebody to do it because I've done it now. And so actually we're getting a new scoreboard, so I would have to relearn how to use the scoreboard and things, but still it's fine. Like it's fine. I'm willing to do it because it is extra money. A lot of people aren't willing to stay late after work. I'm willing to stay late after work, so it doesn't bother me. So right now, I'm in a good position. I don't have a significant other at home. I don't have kids at home, and so I am in a unique position to where I can dedicate as much time as possible to working extra. And so if that's something you can do, I know other educators do it. I could sponsor a club or something like that. Nothing has come up that I felt like I could do. Like I can't coach volleyball. I'll do the scorebook, but I can't coach it because Joy can't play. I can't play volleyball. I can't play basketball, but I love watching, and I can do the scorebook. I can, do the clock. I can do those things, but that's about it. And so, but if you think about it, it's only for a season. If your goal is, I'm going to save this $1,000, because for me, it was just breaking that barrier. Once I broke that barrier, I'm like, I know I can do the rest of it. If I can save $1,000, I know, because for me, it was like getting rid of that poverty mindset, getting rid of that can't do mentality. For me, that's what it was. And so for me, getting to that $1,000 was just huge. And so not only, so if you have like things at work, and I mean, I guess it could be like, I used to do a lot of shift work. So like working at a grocery store, working at a restaurant, just picking up extra shifts that people don't want, or working holidays. A lot of times on holidays like Labor Day, you get paid time and a half, like things like that. So if you could leverage your workplace, like if you want to save $1,000 in a month and you are a waitress or a waiter, hands down, that should be easy to do. Now, I don't know what it looks like now post COVID. I don't know what that world looks like, but if people are still people, then people want to give away shifts. They want to go out on the weekends, like pick up those shifts that people are unwilling to work, and just do it for a season. You don't have to do it all the time, but just until you like meet that goal. And then if you don't have other work in your workplace that you can leverage, then you can work outside of your current workplace. But for me, I on purpose didn't want to work a second job. I didn't want to do like gig work, like Lyft and Uber. Like I said, I've done a lot of things like that before. I've been a delivery driver before. It wasn't through like Uber Eats or whatever. This is just, I worked for a pizza place. And one thing I knew I didn't want to do, and because I just feel like I'm at the age, I'm 49 years old, and I'm just at the age where I have experienced enough things to know if this is something that I want to do. And you always hear those people say, well, if you really want to do it, then you would just do whatever it takes. Well, some things are not worth my peace, okay? Like customers clowning ain't worth it to me. That is just not worth it. Like it's not, no. It's not worth, and people can argue the same thing about working in a high school, but I absolutely love working in a high school. I absolutely love this age group. So for me, it's not a big deal. Some people absolutely love customer service, absolutely love sales, and that's for them. Those things aren't for me. And so you have to like not let people make you feel like you need to do something that you're not comfortable with. Because, first of all, I already have a full time job. And so I don't need to like go somewhere else and be like cussed out or, stressed out over something that's more menial, right? It's food delivery. Not that it's not an important job, but it's not worth how people can treat you. And I just knew that I didn't want to get into that. I didn't want to get into food service. Like, I've just had horrible experiences being a waitress. Like, I remember delivering food and like people just got me waiting for like 20 minutes and 30 minutes before they came out to like get their food and I'm just like, I don't know, just people, just the disrespect. And I just knew that was something I just didn't want to get back into. And working like in grocery stores and things like that, a lot of jobs require a lot of that type of work requires that you work weekends. And I was also unwilling not to give up my Sundays to work. Now, I have worked a couple Sundays here at the school because the band has been in a parade or whatever the case may be, and I was interpreting for a student. And so, but that was my choice, right? I didn't even have to do it. I could have gave it to somebody, one of my coworkers who don't even go to church, right? And so, but I don't want it to be where it's somebody else's decision of what I do with my weekends, right? And so I have had the luxury of being able to tailor my life in such a way where I have evenings and weekends off. And if I don't have evenings and weekends off, then it's my choice. And so I love working at school. I love working with the kids and just being a presence, an adult in their lives. And so working the basketball games gives me that. It's enjoyable, and I get paid to do something that I would probably stay here for anyway, right? Because I was going to the basketball games anyway. That's how I started picking up those shifts, because I'm like, well, I'm going to the game anyway, so why not just get paid for it? And so that's how that started for me. And so I enjoy being here already. Could I make more money working another 40-hour job? Sure. In the evening? Sure. I decided that that's not what I wanted to do with my life. You might think differently, and you can have that opinion. You have to decide what you can do. I set my date, I decided what I wanted to do, and I was able to meet my goal. And so it worked for me. So if you want to do gig work, if you want to do Uber and Lyft, if you want to do Uber Eats, Grubhub, DoorDash, go for it. I just knew for me that was not going to be an option. And plus my car has over 100,000, I think it has 108,000 miles on it now. That was just not an option for me. Like me running my car into the ground for a few dollars was just not going to work for me. And from what I hear, like I watch a lot of these Door Dashers on YouTube, and they sound like a lot of scamming can happen. Like they can put in a tip and then take the tip back, or say they never got their food and I'm just like, I just knew that I didn't want to deal with that. I wanted to deal with something that I already knew, colleagues I know already, work that was enjoyable if I'm gonna like work extra, right? So that's just what I decided. But you have to do what you feel like you want to do. So let me see. So also, not only that, so a couple ways you can leverage your own workplace, you can go outside of your workplace, or you can do something that where it's almost like you're starting your own business. You could also do that. I always wanted to start a business. I always felt like I had this entrepreneurial spirit about me, but nothing ever took off for me. I tried a few different things and nothing ever took off for me. And so I don't think my, this is gonna die, but it's okay. My laptop is going to die, but I'm about done with my notes. But nothing ever really took off for me. And so I was always like putting out all this money, like trying to start a business. And I knew the next time I started a business, it had to be like something that I didn't have to pay for. I did not have to, there was no overhead. I didn't have to buy anything, nothing. I could just start with what I had in my hand. And that's when I decided to start a YouTube channel. Now, starting a YouTube channel is not getting $1,000 fast. Starting a YouTube channel is the long game. Let's be honest, it's the long game. And for myself, it took me it took me 3 months and 18 days to get monetized. And so, so even after you get monetized, I started in April, I got monetized July 25th, and then, you have to meet a threshold of earning $100 before they pay you out. So obviously, between July 25th and the end of July, I wasn't going to have $100. So now we're in September now. It's September 4th. And so I've met the threshold for August, but you don't even get paid for August until around between September 21st and the 26th. So it's not, so even though that was a source of income for me, it's a source of income for me, but it wasn't fast, right? It wasn't a fast thing. It was stuff I had to work at, I had to do it, and now you get paid 1 month for the previous month, and then you have to keep that up. So for me, that's an option just because I knew, like, it's kind of like business because you have to tend to it, right? You have to talk to people, you have to respond to your comments, you have to make content and things like that. But my point in saying all this is, what will somebody pay you to do? Is there something that you can do? Well, can you babysit somebody's kids? Can you work an after school program? Or can you start a before and after school pickup, at your home? Like, what are some things that people will pay you to do? What are things that people have said you do well? And when people used to ask me that, like, when I used to always try to figure out, like, what's my gift or what's my calling or what am I good at? Like, I could never think of anything. That I was good at, but I always remember getting in trouble for talking too much. Starting in kindergarten, I was always in trouble for talking too much. So now I always joke that, well, now Google is paying me to talk. And so think about things that people will pay you for. Are there things you can sell online? Now, that's things that I haven't done. I never felt like I'm not like a big, I don't like accumulate a lot of things, and the things I have are things that I want. And so I'm not going to sell it. Like, even my jewelry, it's all fake. It's costume jewelry. It's not like, I'm going to sell it, for anything. And so think about if you have if people have a lot of electronics, like a lot of computer monitors, like my brothers will always have like all these electronics and things like that. Like if you could sell some of those things. Now, those are things that I haven't done, but I've seen and heard people be able to like get rid of a lot of stuff. People sell a lot of things on Facebook Marketplace. Just like everything adds up. Just like for me, how when I was spending for food, like just always, all that was adding up. It didn't seem like a lot, but when it was all said and done, like hundreds of dollars spent towards fast food and eating out or throwing groceries away, probably even a couple thousand just this year alone, just doing that. And so if I'm wasting that much money, certainly you can earn just as much and more by just putting things on Facebook Marketplace, a table, like anything, chairs that you don't want anymore. People will buy anything. And so even if it's $10 or $15, if they're willing to come pick it up, you want these 4 chairs for $15, that is $15 in your account, even if you don't think it's worth anything. And so those are just a few things that I've done to be able to save $1,000 fast. And so when I say that, once I got on the right track, a lot of things just start opening up for me. And that is so true. Like I started, because Also, not only did I commit to saving $1,000 fast by sticking to my budget, I also committed to tithing. And I have not missed tithing since April. So I've committed to tithing all of my income. If somebody give me $10, a dollar is going into tithe. If somebody gives me $200, $20 is going to tithe. Just whatever it is. So and I do believe like those things working together. Like, I mean, a lot of people got their student loan forgiven, but that was never in my purview. Like I never would have thought that that's something that would have happened for me. But I feel like, because once I got my finances in order, I started paying back my student loan. Because for years, I always like did a forbearance. For years, I've done that. Ever since I left college, I didn't even graduate. I was like, why I got to give y'all money? And I didn't even learn nothing. I didn't learn nothing. I didn't get a degree, nothing. But I owed them all this money. And so for years, I just kept putting it into forbearance for years. But it wasn't until this year when I made a budget and, during COVID, they had paused all the student loans and stuff, but you were still accumulating interest for sure. Trust and believe, interest was still accruing. But they paused it where you weren't going to be late or whatever. And so then, sure enough, in November, I believe, it was either November, I got the notice saying, okay, your student loans are going to start back. We're going to start like expecting your student loan payment, Sure enough, January, and I was behind. And so one of the things for the Total Money Makeover was you had to catch up on your bills. And so my student loan was no longer in forbearance, and I started paying back my student loan. I was behind, I think, a couple months. So once I got in April, I paid that $400 and something to bring it current. And then I was ready, whatever amount I paid, and I was paying my student loan. And I felt good. I just felt like you couldn't tell me nothing because I was finally in charge of my own finances. I felt like couldn't nobody tell me nothing. And sure enough, I think it was June. It was either late June or early July or something like that. No, it was like probably in March, April, May. I think it was in May. It was in May because we were still in school. So it was in May, right before we got out of school. I got the notice saying that my student loan had been canceled. At first, I thought it was a scam. I didn't even open it. I ain't clicking no links. I ain't opening nothing. But sure enough, it was real. And I cried. But I feel like had I not even been taking steps to get things in order, I don't think I would have gotten that if I wasn't paying. I mean, y'all can correct me. If y'all are watching and y'all student loans have been in forbearance and you haven't paid on it, let me know if your loan got canceled, because I don't know. But I just feel like, for myself, I would have never even gotten there, because not only did they forgive the loan, but they paid me back the money that I did pay. They gave it back to me. And that was extra money that I was able to put in my account to help me get towards my $1,000. So hopefully this helped you and gave you some ideas on how to save $1,000 fast, because I hit my $1,000 probably a couple weeks before my deadline. I hit my $1,000. Yep. I have a video about it. I do have one of my videos about it. I don't know which one it is, but I did definitely hit I hit it before the deadline. I didn't think I was going to. I was like, but I did know that I had checks coming in because I had worked all these extracurricular activities. So I knew I had money coming in, and I was like, oh, it's just a matter of time. I just have to wait until it comes in. But thankfully, I was able to meet my goal, and now I just feel like I can do anything. And that's why I was like, I'm gonna pay my car off before the end of this year. I owe $10,000. I think $10,477 I still owe on my car. My goal is to pay it off by the end of this year. I'm hoping I can. We'll see. That's the goal. That is the goal. So yeah. Those are ways you can save $1,000 fast when you don't have any money, because rest assured you do have money and you have the opportunity to get more money. And it don't have to be nothing fancy. You don't have to listen. Stop trying to like watch these people on YouTube and think that they're an overnight success. There are outliers that are overnight successes, but don't bank on those things. Like, do what you can do to get where you need to go, because even the journey will propel you to places that you didn't even think you could go. So let me know if y'all have any questions. Let me know if that was clear, if I need to make things more clear. Because sometimes I feel like I just be talking and I just be going everywhere, and that's why I have notes. So my notes didn't really wrap up, but hopefully I wrapped it up for y'all. So let me know if you have questions. If you've watched any of my videos, my vlogs or my Sunday videos, you know that I share, I'm an open book about my salary, how much money I make, all the things. So feel free to watch those, because I'm not rich. I'm a regular girl just out here trying to live life and be everything God called me to be. So let me know if y'all have questions, and I'll see y'all next time.